Well, I am absolutely shocked. The Seattle Mariners and Josh Naylor just agreed to a 5-year extension. Now, how do I feel about this whole thing? Listen to this message on a way to help my YouTube channel grow to the next level. Since 2022, I have been building the Rooftop Sports YouTube channel, and I want to thank all of you for your support and engagement. Without all of you, there is no Rooftop Sports. Now, if you would like to take your support to the next level, join my exclusive YouTube membership program for just $5 a month. Get first access to new videos, ad-free content, and exclusive insights from my fantasy sports, as I do play many fantasy sports leagues. Plus, follow along with my softball seasons like never before. You also get access to my own emojis to use to comment on my videos and my live streaming shows. For just $5 per month, become a bigger part of my community and get ready for unparalleled sports experience. Let's do this. And yes, thank you very much for that support, and thank you very much for joining my membership. And to those who have already joined my membership, I heavily appreciate and value all of you. And all of you, the rest of you, please do so on top of hitting that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification. Now, how I found out about the Josh Naylor thing, it was through my friends. They all just blew up my phone while I was at work. Hashtag don't quit your day job. And I was absolutely shocked. I really did not think that the Mariners were actually going to do it, let alone even do it this early, because usually if it was like going into December, that means that they would have been sitting on it and been non-committal about giving Josh Naylor an extension, and that is exactly what he got. It was a 5-year extension. Now, the details are unclear as of now, unfortunately, but my guess is I think it was a 5-year, maybe I would like to say $125 million contract. So we'll have to find out and see what those details are, and I think by the time maybe you see this video, maybe we'll have an update by now. So leave it in the comments in case that we see those final numbers. But I'm very happy the Mariners ownership and John Stanton were able to do this and pull this off, because normally Mariners have been known not to exactly give those kind of extensions, especially when they are walking away as a free agent. I think one of the last times I remember the Mariners even pulling this off, I think that was when Brett Boone, after his 2001 season, who had actually declared arbitration, I believe, or he went into the open market, wasn't really getting the offers that he wanted, so the Mariners were able to get lucky and extend him. But aside from that, I never saw the Mariners do anything like this. Usually when there's an impending free agent for the Mariners, they just literally just let them go. And Josh Naylor was an excellent fit for this Mariners offense, and it wasn't so much about hitting those home runs. It was about getting those big hits, including getting that huge hit against Colorado that helped seal the Mariners get their playoff spot. And not only that, he was a great presence for the team. I love that he was the biggest hustler. Like, he was the best base stealer in all of baseball, despite being one of the slowest runners in baseball, if not actually the slowest runner in all of baseball. So I am glad that the Mariners were able to realize that. And also, he hit very well at T-Mobile Park. Like, he was, if not probably the best player in the T-Mobile Park for the Mariners season. And let me go to the splits and see how he actually did at home mostly. Mostly at home, he was a .336 hitter with 10 home runs and 58 RBIs, but that was also combined with his Arizona numbers. But let's go to the ballparks. In T-Mobile Park, let's see what his batting average even was. Or the stadium, shall I say. All right, here it is. T-Mobile Park, he was a .360 hitter, 5 home runs, 22 RBIs, 12 stolen bases. He never 6 walks and just 13 strikeouts. And the most notable strikeout that you'll ever see was literally this one. And now here is the pitch. And a swing!
All 5 pitches were out of the strike zone. Literally, if he had just stood there with the bat on his shoulder, the game would be over.
Are you serious? Yeah, I was quite having a ranting full day, wasn't I? I very much was. But yeah, I mean, that's all I can really say is I'm just very happy Mariners were able to lock up Josh Naylor. Now that really does solidify the first base hole that the Mariners did leave for at least a month, or at least a half month, I would say, especially the first base position that was having problems since 2023 when Ty France just all of a sudden fell off. And then the first baseman after that, it was pretty much a platoon of it was really like Josh Naylor and some other guy. Can't really wrap my head around. And let me see who that first baseman was for the 2024 Mariners. And I know that it was a platooning thing. I remember Tyler Locklear was doing it for a time. But I gotta see who that first baseman was for the Mariners, because it was more than just Luke Raley. It was for 2024, that was. It was Ty France for a time, but then he was cut. It was Justin Turner. That's a name you haven't heard in a long time. Justin Turner was that other first baseman aside from Luke Raley. And when the season started this season, it was supposed to be a platoon of Luke Raley and Donovan Solano. And fortunately, Mariners eventually solidified that first base position. And even like Rowdy Tellez for a stretch too. I mean, it was a really crazy 2025 season when it started with the Mariners spending pretty much no money. Like the most money they really spent in that free agency was bringing back Jorge Polanco, which, by the way, he's another impending free agent. And then Josh Naylor, he really just filled the spot the best he could, and he did great stuff for the Mariners, and I really do appreciate what he did for the Mariners, especially he was like one of the key players for the Mariners. And let's see how he even did in the playoffs. In the postseason, and he was batting .340 with a .392 OBP. His strikeouts to walks was about even, 4 walks and 6 strikeouts, 3 home runs, including that big one in Toronto where he just literally just threw his bat as in like, yep, I hit it out of there. So hopefully Josh Naylor can keep up with that. I mean, the only thing I'm really nervous about is I just hope that he just doesn't like balloon himself even further and gets slower and gets too complacent. I just hope he can just live up to that contract, especially like how Cal Raleigh has more than lived up to that contract. And now that contract, looking back on it, for Cal Raleigh has been an absolute steal. But here is exactly what I am, other things I'm concerned about. I do wonder if, because the Mariners made this move to extend Josh Naylor or to give him, re-sign him to a new contract, I do wonder if this will get John Stanton to be a bit more complacent, because there are a lot of pending free agents still happening, and this is what needs to happen next. The Mariners have got to figure out what they're going to do with third base with Eugenio Suarez, the good vibes only. Are they going to extend Jorge Polanco? And even if the Mariners do extend Jorge Polanco, is he going to actually play at that level that he did in 2025? Or is he going to go back to the way he did in 2024 or anything prior to that? That is the concern I absolutely do have with Jorge Polanco. And he was actually one of the heroes for the Mariners in the playoffs, where he hit the 2 home runs in a game against Detroit. And he also hit the game winner in Game 5, which will be immortalized for some time, but hopefully for not too long, only because I just want to see the Mariners get that World Series championship. So although this is a very great start for the Mariners, they got to do more. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Eugenio Suarez, Jorge Polanco, who have all hit free agency. What are they going to do with that starting rotation? Are they going to actually get a bona fide number 1 like a Tarek Skubal? Or maybe might just throw the same name of Paul Skeens, which I'm not really sure about. Other concerns, what are you going to do with second base? Is Cole Young going to be that guy? Or are you going to get someone like my friend Greg mentioned in Brandon Donovan? What are you going to do at shortstop? Is Colt Emerson ready to take over his spot? Or is J.P. Crawford going to have like some kind of a contract year thing? Or will he just completely stink and the Mariners will have to be forced to trade him or just cut him, as he is on the last year of his contract? And it gets further. What are you going to do with right field? Are you going to stick with Victor Robles and Dom Canzone? Or are you going to try to upgrade in that position or depend on Las Montez to maybe get that call up? I don't know. I wouldn't really bank on that. And then left field, what are you going to do with Randy Arozarena with the fact that he is on an arbitration, deep in the arbitration, and he'll be a free agent after this season. So a lot of questions are still to be answered. I mean, although Josh Naylor is an excellent start to this offseason so far, because that's exactly what I was dreading through the entire playoffs, going through all those play-by-plays, and I was acting very intense and negative because I was worried what this offseason was going to be about, especially if the Mariners didn't win the World Series. The questions were the Mariners going to double down and try to get the Mariners back into not only the postseason, but to get them into the World Series? That would have been another question to answer. And the other question is, will the Mariners add other pieces, or will they just be content? Because there is still plenty to do. Like, I didn't even mention the bullpen as well. They gotta figure out to add more of that bullpen depth, because I don't think Andres Munoz and Matt Brash are going to be enough, because the other guys were just mid at best, especially Eduardo Bazardo, where, yes, he was great throughout regular season, sometimes in the playoffs, but then he just completely fell apart. And same with Gabe Spire. He had a pretty decent one, but all those guys are just not going to be enough for the Mariners to get to that next level of the World Series. But until then, until we start complaining about all that stuff, I want all of us to at least celebrate that the Mariners were able to re-sign Josh Naylor to a 5-year contract, and we'll be interested to see what the details are. Well, that's going to do it. If you have any thoughts on this video, if you thought Josh Naylor was a great re-sign, or you think it was not necessary because he might be too expensive, leave it in the comments, and also tell me what is the next thing the Mariners are going to do and what should they do. Also leave it in the comments, and go Mariners.